think we've seen this scene before. This is a little bit spooky because Carolyn's trying to get our horse checked through on the plane, and we figured it would take some doing. The girl doesn't look too enthusiastic.
Now where do we go?
Would they check the horse on?
They took the horse.
All right, you did good.
I feel.
Doesn't matter. I got a lot to tell you. I don't know where to start. My brain is full of electricity.
We're here.
We're in Phoenix.
Got a great little metro car. Golly darn, we have
That's
been
real tiny. See, real tiny.
real tiny.
Real tiny. Your pipe.
It's just we thought it was very discouraging when we put the luggage in the trunk and the wheels broke off of it before we got in it.
See, luggage.
Luggage. We're trucking now.
Oh, that must be Phoenix over there. Right. Oh, neat mountains.
Hmm?
Neat mountains.
Yeah. They're different from California.
And we came in from Phoenix and turned on Carefree Highway to go to Wickenburg. And there was a sign saying that there was a overlook, so we thought we would overlook. And there's a lot of color here. That's what's real surprising.
The yellow flowers are in bloom.
Yeah.
There's some little orange flowers in bloom.
Pretty.
And whatever they have a whole lot of.
And they have water, and I think that's what they would want us to look at.
Yeah, this is probably a real tourist attraction. Take the whole family on Sunday.
Look, Marge.
Water.
Pretty mountains. Kind of overcast. A little bit cool here in the higher elevations. We probably went up 1,000 feet.
Oh, God, look how big that thing is. Wait a minute.
The man and his machine. Carefree Highway on our way to Wickenburg. Out Wickenburg way.
Probably would go to more cactus. Looks like everything that there is to bloom is blooming now.
Those tall cactus everywhere.
We are on our way to we're on our way to someplace to leave this car because the last, I don't know, 8 miles or something like that, we couldn't get this car. We have to have a buggy like they're in. And this whole thing is 16 miles from Wickenburg. And we left Wickenburg and got on this dirt road.
And we're following Darlene and Carol.
And they're taking us to the ranch.
pretty bloom there. Do you see that?
Yeah, white. Right there's some too.
It's a different one.
And they've already told us that we will be real happy to have brought our tweezers and our little magnifying glass. And after we get in this real closely like this, you can certainly figure out what they're talking about. And it is 5:45 their time, and it's Friday, our first day. And we are dead. And it is really pretty.
The clouds are expected to clear out tonight, right?
Yeah.
Be good tomorrow.
Yep. And Mandy, I don't know if you can tell how big these cactuses are, but listen, they're huge. They're just huge. Now look at that one right there. Now that is a
It's huge.
huge cactus.
So what are you doing?
Stand here at the bunkhouse, get ready to go out this afternoon.
To do what?
I think we're going to go and get a mare and some of her foals, bring them back and be shod. I think that's what we're doing. I don't know. I just followed the person who is on the lead horse.
So what do you do today?
I'm on rabbit.
What have you done so far?
Well, this morning about 8 o'clock, pretty cool. We got on our horse and we rode, I don't know, how far do you think it was? Probably,
10 miles?
yeah, it was 3 hours. We went up on top of a mountain and we got, and to come down, well, they said it was a trail, but the horse did all the work, and it was very steep, and it was very exciting, because you were like this, the whole way down. It was very neat.
And we went up on top of, not this mountain, but the ones behind us, just like that. And you can see forever, and it looks like Hawaii with cactus. And we are 16 miles from the nearest anything. If you can hear that motor running, that's the generator that generates all electricity for everything here. No phone, no pool, no pets.
Lots of dogs and horses, but they work, so you don't call them pets. Got my gloves on now.
We're just about all set to ride off again. And it's real fun.
Here comes a good-looking cowboy.
Talk about mule days.
So you just testing out that mule? See how she drives, how she handles on the curves? Give her some gas. Make her go. Go on, take her on down. Yee-haw!
It's a funky looking little animal.
Yeah, it sure is. Here, smile. Smile, mule. Oh, well.
Look around there, Carolyn. Look around there, Carolyn.
Yeah, there you go.
Look around there, Carolyn. Because I'm a little sweaty, just been around the horn.
Like your spurs. Okay, go on, punch her out. Go on, give her some gas. Come on.
It's real different, Carolyn.
Is it really?
Yeah, there's nothing underneath my feet, you know.
Well, that means you can wrap your legs around it and hold on real
I
tight.
have to reach way up in there to get anything.
Okay, bye, Mr. Mule.
We're about
Ready to go?
45 minutes late, but we'll be all right. You guys have time, right?
Oh, yeah.
We have to be back for a meeting by 12.
No,
Yeah, and I'm expecting that phone call.
you didn't want that, did you? You didn't want to... What do you think we come down here away from telephones for? And people complaining and...
This is a get away from it all space spot.
Rabbit closed now. Let's just let them
Isn't that pretty?
Okay. Tell me where we're going today.
You need me to help?
Seal Mountain. That's about all I can tell you. It's that peak that you see right there.
The big tall one.
Yeah, well, yeah, not the pointed one, but the one that's kind of flat. The one that's more light right now. But
Oh, the
dark
big
at the
one.
top, yeah.
But dark at the top.
Yeah.
Very top.
Yeah, very tip top.
Okay, that's where we're going right here.
That's where we're going. But I couldn't tell you how we're going to get there.
Well, I know we're going to go down the river, and we got to cross the river 4 times.
I remember that part.
And there's supposed to be a trail, somewhat of a trail somewhere. Should I catch
No.
A? No.
Now, did you get Eric?
Horse Dookie isn't
I need a picture.
photogenic.
Well, we shortened it.
You guys to watch old Dutch. He's in a kissing humor this morning.
Is he?
Yeah, he tried to kiss me a minute ago.
Ooh.
Right there.
Which one is Dutch, the light or the
That's
dark
the one with the white rope on. That's the one I'm going to put the back on.
Okay. Oh, that's Switch. That's your favorite horse.
Yeah.
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 I realized that, but I wasn't sure if I...
Yeah, we'll lead that horse, but in case he got loose or something, she could woo him.
And this little thing knows more about horses than we will ever know.
Exactly right.
Yeah, but she will. She'll be one of Grandpa's
That colt
girls.
follows her around. In fact, all these little colts do. It was somebody's trying to get some yummy. And watch this. Somebody's going to get mad here in a minute.
Yeah, that's the mare in the group, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's... She's related to part of the colts.
But she is not going to like that.
Ah, shoot. She's good raised with those colts. I don't think she'll do anything. But she...
Now, you stay away, because if they get hurt, she'll get her picking them, and I don't want you hurt.
I bet there's some way I could tie this on back here.
Now...
Can you get it inside that coat, sweetie?
I think I'm going to try to wrap it up in there. And then I won't have to carry it around the neck.
You're riding the meanest horse.
I am.
We're just now heading out on a trip that's going to take all day. Go up on top of that mountain, take some pictures. See how many cattle we can... See how many cattle we can spot so it's easier to come back and get them next week.
Yeah, they're very bouncing in there.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
This is just a picture of a little girl, right, Mike?
See if the camera can pick them up. Yeah.
You got them?
Yeah.
Now those cows are part of that bunch that I told you that was up in that place. They've been down the water and they're going back. But usually there's water in this. This is called Treasure Canyon right here, and there's usually water in it most of the year.
For everybody watching this,
Back home.
this is Kenny Rogers' father. I figured that out this morning when I first woke up. That's who he looks like, Kenny Rogers' father.
The old man of the mountains.
But he's tougher and meaner than Kenny Rogers.
And uglier. More miles.
Quality miles, though.
Yeah, all of them are quality. Now Dutch, you're not quality. You are giving me a... Your children will never believe you went through all this rough country, these big cactus. One of the things you can tell your friends who might be worried about the saguaro, all of these small ones without arms are all young ones. And you can see them all through here, that's various stages. I don't have any idea how old they are, but they're not very old until they begin to put the arms on. So you can see there's a real good crop of young ones still coming on. There was quite a bit of concern a few years back that the saguaros were dying out, but I think it just takes certain types of weather for them to grow and begin to develop again. Okay, are we ready?
Yeah.
Well, it's all washed out and everything. We're going to get a little higher, Mike, and pretty soon you'll be able to get a lot more broader views, a lot further.
Well, that sure is a pretty valley, isn't it?
Sure is.
Yeah, that. And I see some cattle over there. See, that's what we're going to ride Wednesday. And it looks like there's some cows right down in here. Now, they could be our neighbor Cooper's cows, or they could be my cows that got through the fence on the river and came up this way, or the Hosoni, because Hosoni and Cooper's have about 5 or 6 miles of this river that they don't have any fence on because it washes out so much. But the trail will probably come out, comes around the edge of that peak over there. When we come out Wednesday, we'll come out in there, and then there's another trail that comes up here. Oh, he is.
I'm not kidding.
That's...
Take a picture of me while I'm limping. Gotta get the kinks out.
This is just too beautiful. I'll stop and take some real good ones when we get to the top. But you can see from here almost to California. And at the top you'll be able to see Mexico. That mountain right there is 30 miles from the California border. And I know this is really jumpy. But better jumpy than not get this.
Do you have to go potty? Do you have to go potty? Well, good. Grandma does. And Uncle Roy's through. I'm going.
What are you limping about?
It just takes a few minutes.
It does.
Yeah, okay.
Move over. Move over. Watch it, Erica. Easy, easy, easy.
Oh, the dog found a soft place to lay.
Hey, get back over here and behave yourself.
This is one downhill is always hard on the knees, even if you don't have bad knees.
Well,
At least I think it is.
found out putting them up a little bit going down.
Help some.
Didn't help. Since I'm old.
Well, you can do anything you want to. That's your saddle.
That's right. Bought and paid for.
That's
Come on.
the man.
That's right. Mine's not much good. Boy, you know, holding up the drag should be a good deal. And some of the muddy spots kind of get worn out by the time you get through there.
So it's most of them horse tracks is full of water?
Yes, sir. And I kind of slipped and slided a little. Can you turn your camera that way while I go over the hill?
Well, I had trouble focusing it the last time you did that. But I think I've got it down right now. We're going to leave you alone. So what do you think of this, Tex?
This is better than I ever dreamt.
There goes Carolyn's horse for a walk on its own. It's about 3/4 of a mile down the road. Oh, golly. What have we seen that's any prettier than this?
You know what I think's real neat?
What?
The way the rain just drips off your hat like an umbrella.
Yeah.
And it's fixed so it just doesn't go down your neck. It's real neat. Well, are you staying dry, pretty thing?
Huh?
Are you staying dry?
No. No.
This is the horse I rode 10,000 miles. Oh, you two horses.
He's the best.
Move. Move. Come here. Get up here. Just alike, both of you. Happy made it
Got a
across
bath.
the river.
Where's your hair? Come to you. What is it? Brush your teeth. Come in here, rawhide.
What time did you get up this morning, Carolyn?
4:30.
Why'd you get up so early?
Because I'm just so excited. I just want to do real good. Go get some cows today. Bring them on in.
And then what?
Well, I don't think we're going to do any branding. I think all we're going to do is go get them. Does it sound like we're going to do for any branding this week?
Roy sort of indicated once we get him in the crowd that we could just sort of slap him around and stuff.
So you can let's go and lasso them and throw them to the ground?
Yep.
Oh, Joe, you're just doing so... Woo, woo, that tickles. Okay. That feel good? One neck there? You got to keep sideburns there, don't you? Yeah. I wish I knew which saddle to do and I would go and get it. Which one are you riding?
Biscuit?
Is that one of these two?
Yeah, the other one.
The other one? Because I know which saddle you use. I'll go get it.
Yeah, and I'm going to use that saddle the rest of the week. Especially made for size 92 butt. So you like playing in the mud, huh?
Oh, boy, it is muddy. Hey. into the tap room.
I'll be right there.
Did you notice that your chaps have knees today?
Yeah.
From being wet yesterday?
Yeah.
They're just all stretched out?
I noticed that the lower one, 18 inches, are all muddy too.
Yeah. I'm not sure I'm gonna get it.
So I figured if we didn't have them, it would be the lower 18 inches of something else.
Oh, boy.
Can you get it?
I'm gonna try. Hey, don't laugh.
Crushed by a saddle.
What did you say, 60 or 50 or 60 pounds?
Yeah.
Uh-oh. I have the camera on. Okay. How about that?
How about it?
I got it down and everything. Okay, but wait a minute. It's gonna, we gotta get blankets.
Wait. Does that help?
Which blanket did you use yesterday? Do you remember? What it looked like?
Yeah, the one on the first barrel,
This one right here? This line here?
up on top.
No, those are mine.
Then that was the one mine on the bottom.
No, I'm not. This one's my side. Yeah, this is my side. Yeah, these are definitely my blankets. Okay, so these are yours?
Yeah.
No, wait a minute. Yeah, because you had a brown horse, I had a white horse, so you can tell. And this is your horse here?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know which one went down first? I guess the one with the hair. How's it going there, Biscuit? Oh, Biscuit.
Who are you riding today, Joe? No,
No, I ride either Rabbit or Whiskey, and I think it's Rabbit's turn.
I think so.
Oh, yes.
Well, I fed the colts and the mule this morning.
You fed them?
Yeah.
You get to do all the fun stuff, huh?
Well,
Are we even on both sides?
no.
You feel this one?
There you go.
That good? Good. See, I'm not sure exactly how far you're supposed to put them up. That's the big issue. I think you have to pay attention to where the withers are and stuff. Are you really going to take this?
Roy said he's come up here and will help us.
Yeah, but wouldn't you be just really proud of this if he has forks all set up?
Yeah, but I think that comes to, just like a little kid says, I can change the oil in the car, Dad, and he runs out there and he completely destroys the car.
Okay, so should I, like, stop now?
Well, you want to break the heart.
So stop now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, up there's where we were yesterday,
Oh, boy, you're going to see the here.
right up on top. I mean, the farthest mountain back.
Yeah.
I kind of doubt if those movies came out very well because, I mean, it was bouncy.
Well, I tell you, I can tell you for one thing, when the picture I took of you going across the river,
Uh-huh.
the horse was moving, and as a matter of fact, the eye piece got twisted down, and I took a little bit of sky and had to come back down, so it's going to be really...
Well, that's just the way it goes for the movie camera and horses, doesn't it? What's the name of the river, Carolyn?
The Yassahampa.
What?
Yassahampa, right? Yassahampa? Hampa? Yassa something.
This starts with an H?
Yeah, H-A-M-A-P-P-A-S-S or something like that. Yampahat.
This is about the only river we've seen in the entire state, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it drains this entire area.
And it's really down from yesterday.
Yeah. The first night we were here, it rained a little bit, and the next morning it was way up.
Frog, that's
Right.
this soft part of the foot right here.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you shoe it, that old shoe's real muddy, but you put that so that every time he steps on the ground, he'll operate that valve.
Mm-hmm.
And so you never cut much of that off. So I'll just rasp him down here a little bit, and we'll put that shoe back on. Cool, mate. Cool. Since this shoe was on him already, I just had to flatten his foot out a little bit where it would fit. What he did is he hung it in the wire of the fence, a corner of it, and just pulled it off.
But I mean, the edge of the shoe needs to come all the way to the front.
Right. Now this hammer is not quite like a shoeing hammer, but you just use it to cut those nails off, because even a gentle horse can jerk, and if he jerks that nail through you, it really hurts.
And Mickey's getting a manicure. His nails done.
Now, even though there's 8 holes in these shoes, I normally only put in 6 nails. And the reason for that is so the back of this hoof can work. When he's walking, it needs to have a little room to spread. And if you nail here, it doesn't get as much action. And by letting it have a little more action, they get the blood circulates better.
Yeah.
Did you yell at me and I didn't hear you?
No, I thought I heard Roy yelling help, and I was... There she is.
Well, they got the gate open. Well, I was supposed to watch for them, and they got back real fast.
Well, that's a lot earlier than they said, I thought.
They have a pretty good budge.
Yeah, I think so.
It looks like they're doing it okay. They don't necessarily need me anyway. But I thought I heard something yell, but my ears are so darn plugged up, I can't. That one little cow don't want to go in, huh?
Just one out of the whole bunch.
Did all the rest of them go?
Yeah.
Oh, she got around. I thought I heard that. And my puppy was in there, and I couldn't tell her. Pepper's always got a good one. Here, cut the stuff off.
Go, what? When Roy fires his gun, that means stop what you're doing, get away. Those dogs were chasing some wild hogs yesterday, and they were like from one mountain from us to another. And he fired his gun, and then they stopped right now and came back.
there, cowpoke? You been moseying?
We might want to do with him. Let's put this cover on him because he may try to rub that right.
Put it around the neck.
Yeah, I'll just put it around his neck. Will be fine. I'm going to loosen this cinch on this little mountain because that's kind of hard on their chest.
Oh, just a loving thing. Actually, not. You're deceiving me.
That old cow knew she had an anchor on her when she got that nylon around her neck.
I wish I'd have seen that. I can't wait to see it again.
I thought it was pretty
How'd he get his rope back so quickly? I guess he just let it fly off.
I don't know how he even got it off the cow.
He just let it lie. Those dumb dogs would get.
Yeah.
They are good dogs, though. They are afraid of no thing.
They don't quit, do they? Pat ought to get right up in that gate, hadn't she?
Yeah, keep him from going there to his right, to her right. He's just walking down the fence. There it goes. Oh, you can't throw the pole. He's gonna go for it. Now,
Got him.
Now the dog chases him.
Yeah. We got him now.
It just waits until he moves in there and then takes off after him.
He knows where to go. You want to take him down this way?
Riding the
Did you see it?
No, but Mike says he got every bit of it.
Yeah. Does he have the ability to run it back through there?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, you can look in here and watch it.
Heck, I may try out for rodeo queen or something.
Is this a silent movie?
No, man, you're talking.
Oh, okay.
No cussing. This is a PG rated.
Okay.
If I had a lot more, I might carry a pistol. That's not because I'm afraid of the outlaws. It's because I need to control my dog.
Roy, now I know how Chester felt in Chester,
Yeah.
running along limping beside everybody who's having all the fun, yelling, "Mr. Dillon, Mr. Dillon."
She may get one with something in it because of her ability to unload off the horse dramatically.
Hey, you didn't do any better than any old stunt man.
Go, boo. Go, boo.
I don't want to be fat.
Okay, about 3 head all the way out. If they'll go 2 all the way out.
All the way.
All the way out. Sorry. Shut your gate, honey. Let me get that. That's one good.
You got to see the cap?
Yes, I got the cap inside there.
It needs to be done inside.
Yep.
You want her out?
Here's the one that Roy roped yesterday. Did you see him?
Yeah. He still has that rope around.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you know which one is this at?
Yes, I do.
Sorry.
No problem, honey.
I'm going to get up on top of that trailer right there to be the thing. Wouldn't it?
Okay, Pat, let's catch this one. Oh. Catch.
That rope has gotten everybody.
Okay, let's put these 2 calves in. Okay, this one go all the way out. Okay, now let some of them cows go all the way. Not that one with the rope. All the way at that white cow. Now maybe we can put them to fat. Come on, let's go.
Oh, look at that little baby one.
Honey, this little bitty calf, let's just let it go clear on out. It's too little to brand. There's 2 of them there. See those 2 little ones? Now these other 2 right in front, if we can get them, let's put them to pat. Come on, go on in there. Good. Good, you pay attention. Good horse. Next steer goes to pat. That's outside all the way. Okay, couple of these old cows all the way. Come on. Outside. Come on, white cow. Follow that up. Go on. Hup. Okay, this one the fat.
Oh, that's a monkey.
Oh, this one's their cow. Get out of here.
Tom?
Okay, outside all the way. Tom, that's enough. I'm gonna feed the dog up. Bad. We're causing too much trouble.
Tom's so ashamed of himself.
Tom just gets out of control.
104 outside all the way. Oh, no. I got 1 little cow, maybe 2, to go outside. The rest all ought to go to pat. Let me see if I can get this 1 little yellow cow out. This one right here. 29. Yeah, let that brindle one and this one right behind her out all the way. Come on, yellow cow. That's Alan and Darlene anyway. Shut the gate. Shut the gate. Now let these go to Pat. Yeah, both to Pat. That brindle one was Alan and Darlene that needed the number 1 in her ear.
Oh, is that the one that was there?
Yeah. Okay, we got 1 cow to go outside. Let's outside. Now watch that dang calf of hers here if we can cut it off. Okay, now let's put all these cats here back in this pen. That's no problem. I never saw her till she went through the gate. You, what? I don't want to hear you. That's enough.
Those little pigs are getting there with their tails wagging.
Tom! No!
Said the ear thing must be down here underneath the table.
Okay, this will be number 2. And she's a chocolate-colored 2-year-old heifer. She's probably going to have a calf pretty quick. You didn't find that? It's a gray box.
Gonna have a calf pretty quick.
Yeah.
Is it button go in the back?
Yeah.
Well, I just got that too, the button.
That's the only way. This tool will put these on.
That other.
It's got some kind of Oh, Swisher.
got it tied up a little bit.
You got her a little further ahead. Okay, that'll peel. Now unsqueeze her. Yeah, it's so wet. It's gonna work. Other way, horse.
Get your hunkus over.
Get over, switch. That's so damn wet. Put that back in the park. That.
Won't make
Tight this I think it just slipped. I think it just slipped. Use this better. Remember that 9 seconds I turned you around?
Yeah. There you go.
This ain't it.
It's got a dewlap. That's what they call it, a dewlap. Dewlap's down in a straight place.
Okay, I didn't write down anything about this one.
This is a little walking lead, boy, you see a little red heifer. Rockle-faced heifer.
There she goes.
Okay, honey.
Here's a bunch. Then you forgot to hold on to it.
Hey, honey,
Uh-huh.
if I heal this heifer, she's pretty near as big as that other one. If I heal her and drag her out, you think we can hold her that way?
Oh, I'll try. She goes on the
Pretty good sized
right
calf.
side. I never know how to. Ah, busted. You got her?
Yep.
I got her by the big front end.
Oh, by the big front end, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, the cow's saying, oh, God, I'm...
Now, calf, you just can't go Back. Where did I put that?
Catch her up here. Just little. Me.
Yep.
Like the wind right out of her sails.
Oh, we got her. We got her now. This is going to be a Diamond S heifer. Bring me that big knife. Strike that rope off.
Not the Diamond S brand.
Watch
You
the
can
ears
write
cut
this down, you know, on the bottom where she'll be a. Once she gets her brand on. I'm really doing you a little quick on account of usually you never do it till you actually have the brand on because they can get away. And they're not branded till they're branded. You want me to hold my knee on her?
No, I got her pet. Brings me that iron. It's smoking, honey. Just right, Patricia. Bet your dollar that one
Oh, get back around here.
Now you keep a hold of these two hind feet
That's what
because they can reach right up and hit you right in the mouth. Go on, baby. Like we did when I brought these calves in.
Stay in
Just
the
get
same
on the other
places.
side of that
Sure.
gate, and what we want to do. What? Okay. What we want to do is turn these cows around and come up this north, right? We'll open a gate over. Patricia, will you take this and give it to Carol when she gets down there? Just eat.
Hey, Mike.
Get off of here. Hup. Get off of here. Help. Hip, hip. Hibba, hibba, hibba.
Get out of there. Come on, pal. Get on out of there. Come on, pal.
Come on, eyebrow. Let's go. Come on. Hup.
Make a noise. Let your fork go if you want to go, but as soon as she sees you moving, she'll just go down. If it all works out right. If it don't work out right, 9 times out of 10, right? But then there's that one time. Where's that one?
Here he is up on the rocks.
Whoa, he's really on the rock. Cool.
I caught y'all saying,
Have to climb that far.
I caught you saying things that you won't believe. Come here, sit down. Come here, sit down.
There's the puppy of my dreams.
Yeah, there he is.
Deaf as a doornail.
Whenever there's trouble, he's not far behind. Go on, get on. Get on. Get on away from here. Get on out of town. Get out of town. We should have gotten some movies of him chasing shadows.
Mm-hmm.
That's his full-time job here. There's not been a shadow murder since that dog came here.
Well, usually you're just all full of energy. Why don't you get up and do something? You get your picture taken. We'll go over here rocking till you get excited.
Coming right up to the close-up.
Get close
This is the question. This is the question of the week. Mr. Roy, have you killed anybody this week?
Week ain't over yet.
You guys have a fight between the two grand boys there?
Oh, I do all the time.
You sure are.
You gotta win when you fight with the boys. You did all right.
Gotta go outside.
Come on, Grandma. No more.
Hey, no more hitting at the table.
No,
You
no.
two boys.
You gotta go outside if
You
you
know that Grandpa will take one of these and put up against your nose hard, and it'll cause you to have two
Frank,
black horses
I think
and
there's another-
a
See if
red
there's another
wagon.
gallon of milk in there.
You know what that is?
Of course it is when it's out here.
There's one right in there, yes, behind the
Like
gate.
these coconuts is going to get.
So coconut.
Hey, remember Wednesday night? Daddy man? Now, what are we gonna do?
See, Travis's first
I want the high chair.
He's already got the high chair. Hey, and we need to get Mike and
There,
Carolyn
these is
in
my,
so they're not looking to the back of the camera though.
Oh no, this is good. This is good right here.
I'm not on TV.
Going to McDonald's?
McDonald's hasn't changed, that's just
They're
their
gonna do squeeze.
Are you
I
still,
was
are
just
you
gonna get in right there.
taping now?
You'll see.
We'll see.
You'll see.
We can edit this stuff out. Well, I want to know, did they like it or not?
What I want to
No, they're still here. One thing about Mike, he's not quite as tough as a mesquite, but he's also, him and Biscuit fought the mesquite, but the mesquite won. And Biscuit got away, only Rock saved the day. Biscuit was standing there by him when he woke up, and Rock was washing his face.
You really? Oh, that's different.
He said, that dog really likes me.
Oh, I think what it really was, he knew I was going to die and he was there for a meal. The horrid problem lady said, if he wakes up, I'll kick you.
Cleaning them off.
You You notice how he's holding his side, he's still kind of wounded.
Laughing.
He's part of the walking wounded.
Well, that's what they don't show in the movies, all the. That's right.
He's found out a few things that they don't show in the movie in the last week.
You get it after you're done.
Lord Jesus, tonight we come before you. How we thank you for this good day you gave us to live. And Lord, we thank you for this family and these friends that are gathered at this table. Thank you for what this week's been for us, Lord. And we just ask you to bless our food and us that eat it. And Lord, may we do your will in our lives. And Lord, I pray that you give Mike and Carolyn a safe trip home and a wonderful weekend this weekend. Thank you, Jesus. In your name I pray.
And who's been
You're
around?
supposed to be company, I guess you have to do
He's also a
something.
sheep fighter.
Okay, well, which way we going? Just
Me and him
Anyway.
fixed, I fixed him all up last week.
What's he got to do?
He's sheep fighting, did you say that?
Clown out.
Grandpa, we need to borrow a pair.
Remember, you're spinner job, please.
Well,
I'll pass this through, that's all.
They're easy, those other ones,
All right.
they're not big, they're not.
well, them pink ones would be way too big for him.
No, but the grandpa has some other ones.
Yes, ma'am, I do. Roy's got his kind and the other's right here.
You want some milk, Charlotte?
Or maybe last week, is there a pop?
You got, okay. Help yourself. Now, Robbie, you are me and don't turn it over like you and your mother did. Your mother and me did.
I don't turn milk over.
Oh, yeah? She didn't need it.
When did you become perfect?
I'm not hungry, boy.
Well, I've been letting him go out and perch with me, and they come rookie eater in. Take him to the pool halls, the waitresses want to take him home.
Who's this?
Todd, your mom said you had to eat.
Robbie,
Just a little bit.
His mom said he had to eat.
Yes, but you don't do that. You let Toby do it. Toby's his father, you're just his fighting mate. You're just going to fight.
The other day when I didn't have him to fight with, Rob Roy to fight with him, I had to fight for him for 2 hours.
did you fight with your dad? Oh, no.
We wrestled.
Did you
Smashed that up.
wrestle your dad down?
That cup.
You good? Don't you me?
Frank's not helpful, is he?
There you go.
Me?
He's very helpful.
Somebody-
He's got his elbow in my face.
Here comes this way.
You want this little piece? You want
I'm
that
still
little-
wet behind the ears, I gotta have my milk.
Okay.
You want some
Roll.
salad? Wait, but the right way.
Anyway.
So are you supposed to bring Kevin back?
Yeah, tomorrow.
Now, one is barbecue and one, this is deer, the other is, they're both deer, but one's barbecue.
I want some of that too.
You said you didn't want
What?
meat.
Well, they probably want some barbecue.
Well, just bring the plate on around. There's other folks here.
There is.
Take it easy there.
Rob Roy's fixing to get clouded up.
How
Maybe
did
I
you
should just stay home.
how did you hurt your eye?
I was hiking around and I got hit over the head. You just said you did.
I didn't say it.
Hey,
Ask anybody. You said I
all
want
right, you
some.
don't have to eat it. You want some,
It's not.
salad dressing on your salad? Okay.
I need a sharp knife.
Just a little bit. Oh,
My eyes.
Dad, I can't eat it like
Oh,
that.
she's over here.
you can.
That's because Mom put a whole bunch on it.
You want a whole bunch
All
of
the
it?
way around, right? Yep. Salt and pepper
Okay.
on the table.
How's that? Right there, sure, you can just rub it
Isn't that
around.
better?
No, this is fruit.
Nope.
What?
See if you can find the other, I thought it was in this one.
What's that, soup? Beans?
Well,
Beans? I should eat the
Barbecue. Excellent.
Here it is.
Dad, we don't need the metal chip.
Grandpa's gonna spill his milk
Let me
and
take
slide
that
up.
bean
Every-
thing out of the way.
it's just fruit.
Oh, is that fruit? Oh,
Might have fruit if they want it.
Oh,
old biscuit rubbed off and left him.
No, he stayed right there with him, but I don't know whether he had him so tangled up in the mesquite tree that he couldn't, Biscuit couldn't get out or.
I
Biscuit just felt sorry for him.
I figured it out. He was laughing so hard he couldn't walk.
But I wanted to tell
Well, you know
you,
what was really the laugh
Right
though
there.
is it wasn't really funny, but Carolyn heard somebody say something. She says, "That sounds like Mike. I think he's coming up the trail." We saw Dad coming down off of the deal, and so pretty soon we see Mike, and Roy says, "Have you seen Mike? Yeah, he's over there." And Mike's over there waving, and well, wait, there he is dying.
so then Mr. Roy rides up on the side of the hill, see, and I look over there and I see Mike kind of tenderly touching his knee. I said, "Just follow them cows on over there and pull that bud." I didn't know he'd had this wreck. When I get to see him, though, he's pale as this glass of milk. But you know where I sent him from?
Where?
You know, up on top of Powell Mountain, where we always find those cows up there? Well, right in the corner, we got 4 cows and a bull.
Can't you see this
We
one?
get down in that dirty, rotten place.
And that's what he
And
said.
then I saw
I think
2 cows down there and 2 more steers up on the other side of there. So I said, "Mike, I'm not gonna make you go down there with me. But just follow these cattle on back and put them in the herd that Carolyn had." So Mike, he goes tootling off of those cattle, and he didn't tell me that, I don't know where that trail is, Mr. Roy. He just said, "Okay, I'm gone." And then, so the bull's about a quarter of a mile in front of these 4 cows. But Mike and his cows are rapidly catching a bull, so I just went off nonchalantly down that dirty rotten thing to get those other cattle. And so when I finally got through that hole and got those other cattle down there, well, the horse I was riding was Mikie, and he had just about give out. So I got scared then when I got back to the cows and I didn't see Mike because he had a lot more time than I did. And I guess he'd been there a little while, laying on the ground, massaging the rocks with his ribs.
Did you hurt your rocks?
We haven't asked him yet.
They didn't because they weren't complaining out loud.
This is really good.
I was so terrible. Carolyn and I was sitting up there waiting for him to come, and there he was. He couldn't get up.
and he wasn't that far away. I mean, we couldn't go.
Yeah, we heard him.
Well, Rob Roy,
Next time you're moaning, Mike, moan loud.
that's
No, he
better.
got back up himself. He got right back on that horse.
Well, I seen my brother Fred walk 3 miles because old Hope jumped out from underneath his horse, turned him upside down, and stepped right in the middle of his back. Fred would have got up on him and rode, but he couldn't ever get his arm up high enough to get it over the saddle horn.
Full cactus.
I broke my arm and walked home.
Well, that ain't
That isn't fun, is it?
It happens to the best of us.
That's right.
And Pat rolls down a mountain because my horse slipped.
You know, Pete's got this
Pat rolls
deal.
down the mountain if it went to the
He
bike
does
lane,
a
she'd be out.
somersault off over
Yeah,
the back.
I've seen that.
Well, Pat does it off over the side between 2 cactuses and down over a rock pile.
You're trying to outdo Pete, huh?
Got a new boot.
Well, I only got to see the last half after she struck the ground and started going down. I heard Carolyn holler, "Oh, Pat," or something like that. And so then I look, and here goes a little bitty girl in red clothes rolling down along the rocks.
Did you ruin your hat?
I didn't even lose it.
She took it. A real cowgirl.
That's because I was on my head. Because I
You
put
gotta
a
take them on
stamp
there, your famous
string on
shortcuts,
it.
did you?
No,
Okay.
I was pretty gentle with them. I even asked them when they got through the quicksand if they was all right.
Past the, I'm not
I was awful quiet.
What do you need, son?
Nice.
It's a sharp knife, I think.
No, just
There you go, Robbie. Take that.
there.
Mine was tender. What's wrong here?
Mine is.
We just didn't give him a knife. You know how his was nice.
One time,
But all in all, I think we really had a good time.
you didn't tell them about that time we lost all 3 horses over here behind the mountain?
Everybody fell
I
down.
didn't show them that hole.
You mean the one with all the bones in it?
Alan was telling about whiskey falling over with Rayla with those, well, she wasn't on it, but with the pigs, and then got up and left. He had to
I
carry the
still haven't
saddle
found
home.
those blankets.
Why not?
I don't think you need to now.
You don't think so? It's been long enough, you think they're all kind of decayed?
Last time you guys all fell down, you guys were.
Well, we had to cut that horse out of the tree.
And yours was. You're the only one that didn't fall down?
No, all three of them went down. We had to go get the other two up. You know what you like later?
Yeah.
I can change your mind.
Make up your mind.
You like up your mind. You
Don't
like
fight
Hey,
near the
hey, hey,
table. That's not good manners.
That little horse, he fell over in that mesquite tree. We had to cut the tree down to get him out.
And this is their daughter's son.
Yeah, I didn't introduce you to Rob.
I introduced you
Yeah.
to Rob Roy.
But I didn't know if they were brothers.
No, they act like it, but.
Yeah.
Robbie spends a lot of time at Bill's house, it helps him work and stuff over there.
looking for my
Potato
food.
or salad? Well, there's still, there's some, if you want some butter on it.
I want some more this.
More salad?
You like that
Put
salad?
some dressing on it too.
Here's that kind of dress.
You know, salad makes great big ears and great long feet, or vice versa.
Then I must have got the big great
And you
long
say,
feet.
what's that? You say that all the time anyway, don't you?
What's this?
That's an onion.
Onion?
It's good onion.
I guess I must have got the big long feet.
It'll be 4 July.
That was my little goat herder I was telling you about. I mean, Robbie was a big goat herder, but he is a little goat herder.
I got that tape someplace.
You have it? I don't care about that.
What tape?
That's him in the goat pen.
At least I think I do.
I
don't
think
think
Steve
you got
has
off
it.
there. No. Let's see mine. He'll be there tomorrow.
That's good deer.
We'll be there.
Pat,
Which deer, which one's the deer?
I told you. Your grandmother in Wickenburg used to say, all meat's deer meat.
Yep.
Do you mean?
Except for meat that's
Right
not
here.
deer meat.
This is the deer that Pat ambushed. Shouldn't have crossed
Killed
roads.
Bambi. Killed Bambi. Killed Bambi's father.
They got to see javelina and they got to see deer.
What
Deer
deer
was
season are
the
you?
second day. And the javelina, they showed Mike how they decoy. You know, this one old pig went right out in front of us. I said, we better look the other way, and sure enough, there was another, I don't know, several, 8 to 10, maybe more, one up over the side of the hill. That decoy was, if you'd watched that decoy, you'd have never seen the others.
We saw the decoy.
We
but
heard
didn't
it,
see
we
the
were
others.
completely taken in.
Yeah.
I was looking around thinking, where's the rest of them?
Seen one racer today,
We saw racers now today.
and that one kid that works with me, I showed him a doggone Gila monster was across the road over at Pinnacle Peak. Why?
Oh,
Showed
they're
him.
coming out.
Oh, they're out, they ain't coming out, they're out.
Oh, boy, and I saw a Gila monster down there by Butte Street.
It was too cool the way we were out for Gila monsters. Wasn't cold, but it was just.
Well, Pinnacle Peak's pretty high.
Well, this was back like last Monday. It was pretty cool.
You know,
It was raining.
I have to tell you another little story about cows. Remember the year we came back from Alaska and we tried to brand them in the mud?
Well, we didn't try to, we did, but it was,
And we finally had to quit. Well, when was it, Wednesday that we branded them or Thursday? Thursday. Anyway, we had 6 or 7 little baby calves in there, and I think we wound up branding 5. But all this week, see, Mike's been wanting to throw in those baby calves. And I kept telling him, you know, Mike, them things can undress you. And so then that he's kind of, what would you call that? An ambulatory wounded cowboy. And he wasn't really up to fighting a cow. So that cow that you sold, boy, that longhorn cow, she had a 6-week-old, nice longhorn cross calf, pretty little cow. So, Papa ropes her the first shot, come and drag her out in that little lane. And we're in her irrigating boots, Grandma and me. And Pat.
Oh, you didn't offer them any irrigation?
Well, no, they were, see, we had the official record keeper and the official photographer. And then we had the official roper and the two muggers.
They weren't muggers, they were muckers.
We were cowgirls down there. Now we're
Yeah, now they.
Yeah, well,
So muggers or muggers?
yeah.
So anyway, we drug that calf out there. And I showed them everything in the world what not to do.
Yeah.
I picked that calf up and threw it down, and then it picked me up and threw me down. And I finally got it tied up after my heart was a-pumping fast and I'd run out of wind. And then as soon as I got it tied up, well, it just got up and pulled one foot out of the rope. So then I really got mad, and we got
It was strong.
it thrown down on the ground finally, and held it down and put the walking down. But I can tell you,
Made it pretty
a
good.
lot of freight trains wish they could huff and puff as good as this one kind of huffing and puffing before that's over.
You were pulling the feet where he doesn't tie right and all the foots come out.
Yeah, well, all these foots come out all right.
Mini tree.
Well, I used
Don't lie.
one of them grass pigging strings and it was, I couldn't get it pulled tight enough. So then from then on, all the rest of the kids, we tied up with that little bitty nylon that I got. And that worked pretty good. And then we ran in some of Ellen and Darlene's cows.
What, the opposite?
So then yesterday,
Roy, you said the iron isn't quite right. Will it be all right on the ones you did, or do we need to redo it?
well, no, it'll show, but every one of them where that A part is will probably be blocked.
What they do is they get a lot of
You got two
sparks.
hops.
Yeah, I've got two hops in that A, you know, right up there in the top of the triangle part.
Mine does that too. They get,
That little bitty iron, you gotta be real careful because there's too much heat in one place. And my Diamond S is that way. A lot of those cows you see just gotta kind of knot with the
Now,
S
one
on
little
it.
brand that we have that's too
One
small.
little brand
would
was
be-
too,
Waffle.
well, it just gets too hot, so that's why I cut it to 2. That's the one that's a half a Diamond S now. And that works pretty good. You just put it on and turn
But
it
what
on,
is your
put it on
brand?
again.
ALK.
yeah, I'll be able to do that.
It's
with it.
ALK
I
connected.
told them 2 bar irons would be just right, one about 3 inches long and one about 1.5 inches long, and then you can make all the.
Yeah, one of them, they build it kind of like,
Cause what
why
happens,
don't we use this as easy bar?
Sit down, Trevor.
what happens is when you, you know.
Try to make them small, the iron small, it gets too hot. And it burns hot. Use it, like on mine, I do.
Didn't let it get any sweet stuff, or you just wanna rub it on.
And see what you have to do with Allen's is because, you know, they jump, well, then you can't get it right back in that same place. So then you have to go to the running iron, so you're still using another iron. You might as well-
This JV bar looks like a spearhead, it's just got a J on one side and the bar, you know, it's laying like this, and it's got a little flap space here, so in case you monkey up, then you heat the whole thing up, and you just slap the J in. Then you can make it as small as you want it.
Can you get my rifle out of the car?
Please, and it breaks your jaw to say please.
Well, you have to wait until the railroad gets out.
You can't jump over the table like you.
Do you flap your ears and fly?
No,
You
because
can't.
I'm not like Peter Pan.
You're not like Peter Pan.
I thought it was Dumbo.
I thought you might be part Peter Pan. You got eyes that sparkle.
Yeah, but I'm not Peter
What is
Pan.
this?
My belly button.
Shh. Boy, you better not do that. There's lots of people around there. That might embarrass me. These
You
both.
telling them about Sneaky Snake?
Sneaky snake.
About Sneaky
Oh,
Snake.
God.
Sneaky snake take all of my wood there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have that song?
I look for it,
We have that, singing in the kitchen, it's in
well,
there.
and then that's where it's at, it's on that tape.
We got another tape here about the man that came to our house every single day.
Uh-huh.
And it's on a Patsy Montana tape. And it's pretty good. So I bet you hear it again. You probably remember all the words. What are you doing, Travis? That sneaky snake?
Well, that's one of them.
I got all 3 Star Wars tapes now.
Oh, do you?
Where'd you buy another one? Where'd you buy another one?
I accidentally stumbled across it Sunday. No, Monday.
Did you notice I've been in your house tonight?
Papa,
We don't find no movies Monday though. It's been Tuesday.
Okay, then.
Are you gonna get all that down?
Why don't, when you do that,
Play, he'd help you with that too.
Travis, why, can we wait till the morning?
And I don't, I don't have any problem with it. You have meeting dates, you got everything under control. If you don't, well, you're in trouble.
yeah,
Right, Mike?
that's right. But don't, he
I
can,
told him,
you
I
can
said,
make
well, I
just a
should have
little
probably
bit.
cooked you a little rice. I said,
Yeah. Mom, now, when you stop by, check my refrigerator.
Oh,
It was off.
I didn't even look out there. I just.
Jim come by and got all the meat out of it.
Oh, really?
I don't know.
Well, how long have you been gone?
Everything in it was still cold, but it was thawed out, I guess. You know, try to-
Keep it clean. Well, if you need to, talk to him.
Well, there wasn't much, cause I sent most of it with Steve.
You know, I think that big
Yeah, I didn't
lizard
even
is
think.
riding
that. Yeah,
skis,
I just got the mail.
because he climbs up on this.
Well, you know how that doggone thing does, it likes to blow out.
Was it LP or electric?
One of those
Huh?
ski.
LP or electric?
Yeah, propane. That's the only trouble with them, sometimes in the weather, you know, blow out those pilot lights and then your refrigerator, you are in trouble. You gotta cook
Why
it.
not?
Yeah.
You don't have all the mosquitoes then.
Early this morning, there were Pinnacle Peak, so I know it had to be windy up there.
It wasn't so bad here today, where we went. Did you think it wasn't windy at all? In fact, today was probably the prettiest day we've had as far as sunshine was concerned. Carolyn came in and she had a nice tan on both hands, and her face was, look at that.
Where's Mark?
Sunburn.
Oh, you sure did.
Am I correct? That's just from today.
You didn't put that stuff on.
And I took my gloves off. I started with my gloves, and then they started getting real sweaty, and there's a big. And stuff. I thought,
What do you got? You go there
I
and
didn't
have
even think about it.
sunburn paws.
Well, you
It's nasty looking liquid, I stuck my hands down it.
Yeah, that's right.
Stain them.
But I just haven't washed my hands for several days.
Mr. Roy wouldn't let me wear my gloves, said that'd make me a sister. We got the whole deal.
We left all sixty, all 60 stuff at the gate.
Marty wants to borrow. Does he need a saddle too?
No, he's got everything but a collar and a bridle, so he's all over there. I thought we just didn't use biscuit, I got him shot all the way around. And
Well, if he needs a bridle and a saddle,
Mike has already ironed the biscuit out pretty good. And then I let Carolyn, you rode him yesterday, didn't you, when we took
Yes,
the cattle out?
sure did.
None of them tried to teach him any bad habits like getting off over his head.
Well, no, they put him off in the bush pile.
did you teach him how to jump off the back? You know where you ride and you
Seriously,
slide off the back?
everyone was.
No, I don't do that. I want the side.
What he was trying to do, I think, was maybe be a bulldozer. And he forgot to drop the blade. No, you can't use a saddle on that sheep. We don't get on that sheep and hold him. Oh, mercy.
Right here.
Well, as you can see, and if you got our letter, we got home okay. Real bad feelings on the way home in the last couple of weeks. We don't like it here anymore. We want to come back, but we're afraid that you probably put a gate across to keep us out. And like we told you, we would come home and take a movie or two and show you what we like to do, but we just want to thank you so much for having us. That was just a real special time, and I promise you we'll be back. And the main thing that you two have to do is just take care of yourselves and don't get hurt. And just be real careful with everything that you do. So we thought, well, when we got back, the flowers were a little bit past their prime. And by the flowers, I mean the azaleas. We had a big festival this weekend that is called the Azalea Festival. And they're usually average about 200,000 to 300,000 people come to town, and they have parades, and it lasts 4 days. And this is in celebration of all the blooms. So it's always a big thing each year to try to have the Azalea Festival, try to have the flowers bloom right when they're having the festival, but of course they don't have much control over that.
But by the time we got back, they were a little bit past their peak. But you can, from what we'll show you, you'll see a little bit of what's left. And it must have been real pretty. It's pretty every year. And we'll show you what I like to make and what we like to do. And we're sitting out on the back steps right now. And the backyard is back right here. And the house is right behind us. And it just doesn't take nearly as long to
Show you our spread.
to take a movie of our spread as it does yours. Because I can sit right here and see half of it, and if I turn around and look the other way, I see the other half, and it's all over. Not a whole lot more to clap about. So get the camera,
Okay.
and oh, and you probably recognize this, and wait just a minute, Carolyn. I don't show just everybody this, but I got me one of those, and it does great things for my ability to get around. And that's the fish pond. Carol and I built that about 4 years ago. In fact, last night we figured out that I asked Carolyn to marry me 5 years ago last night, so we
That's
went out
exactly
and
right.
celebrated.
We sure did.
And not too long after we got married, that fall after we got married, we built that. I'll go turn it on.
Yeah. And we have fish in it, but the water's mighty green and they don't come to the surface when it's green. But we have about 17 to 20 fish in there, goldfish and koi. And every once in a while you'll spot a little one, and so it keeps getting more and more fish in there.
And yesterday, we planted all those little flowers in there, and hopefully within the next 6 weeks or so, that'll just be a big mound of color. And you can see the azaleas along the fence. Some of them are still kind of pretty, but most of them are past their prime, and all those that you're looking at back there in the back are pretty well, they're completely gone now, and it's starting to get new growth.
But the dogwoods still look nice, don't they?
Yeah, they do last a nice long time. And this side of the yard is a year old. Those plants are only a year old, so they're not filled in yet, but within the next year or two, they should be up like the other two sides. Of course, we won't know that because we'll be living with you by then.
Now this gate and this fence Mike put up himself, and he made the gate. He also made the gate that you saw when we were going along the back of the yard. And this workshop Mike built how many years ago?
Probably 15.
Yeah.
And that has been really great when Carolyn's on the road in the wintertime. Put a little heater out there and stay out there and just work till I can't stand up.
Ooh, gotta get back. Sorry for it being jumpy. And this is the back of the house.
That's where we live in the summertime.
On
We
our
got ceiling
porch.
fans in there, and we eat out there and run the grill. And that's just a real...
And you heard us talk of Betsy and Russell, and that's their home.
And needless to say, our next door neighbor is a little bit closer than your next door neighbor. But they're real nice people, fortunately, because you can't live next door to some really creep living that close together. You got to get along. Now we'll go inside and I'll show you some of the things that I made in my workshop. That's a corner cupboard I made several years ago. And I try to do a real good job as far as copying a real old one. So I'll either get one and bring it home and copy it, or get the plans for it and try to make it as authentic as I can. And Carol, I told you about the little booth that we made for the breakfast room. Carol made those little seat pads for it, which makes it real comfortable. And you can see what we've been doing for the last week. We look at them until they got holes in them. Change our minds every day about which one is our favorite. And this is our den. These are some of the things we picked up in China. And the doors right here go back to the back porch, so and we think that turned out real well as far as being able to sit in the den and see the backyard. And that's some more things we picked up in China. And that is something I picked up about 5 years ago that I won't ever trade. And that's another corner cupboard that I made last winter while Carolyn was traveling.
And that probably seems pretty silly to a lot of people, but I get a lot of pleasure out of fooling with wood.
Turned out real nice.
I'm sorry?
That was your experiment with that particular color of finish.
And that's just ponderosa pine. Cheap wood, fun to work with. And this is our living room. And that's a chest that was from 1751 from England, and I redid the legs on it. And that little lamp stand there with the cross legs, I made that. And nothing's really homemade in here. That's just old. Well, I guess Carolyn got
flowers.
Yes, I gave Carolyn that flower arrangement for our anniversary one time. And she bought me those chairs for Christmas, and they were in a kit. And I spent about 6 weeks putting those together and finishing them, and that's about the most fun I've ever had, with the exception of a trip to Arizona I can remember. And this is in our bedroom, and that's a chest I made last winter. And Alan might like this, since he's a tile man. We didn't do the tile in here. We had it done, but we did all the other work. Gutted this bathroom, and I made the molding and put it in and made the counter. I don't know how much of this you can see. Or less than that, I can't imagine how much you'd be interested in, but this is
Maybe Alan will like it.
this is what we do, and I just thought Alan might like this blue tile, which we thought was so pretty, and the first time we used it, we thought, good golly, what have we done? You can just breathe when you walk by the bathroom and it gets dirty. And this is our street that we live on, and as Darlene can tell you, it's the 8th house on the left. That's Russell and Betsy's house next door, and this is our house. And when I moved here 17 years ago, you couldn't see the house from the street for the trees and vines and junk. And I spent the last 15 years fooling with it. And that's just what we like to do. And now we'll go back here at the end of the driveway and show you what Carolyn does better than anybody in the world. This was such a thrill to come home to. Carolyn's been working in this little bed for, what, three years?
2 or 3 years, yeah.
Planting bulbs and mixing up dirt and stuff, and sometimes it doesn't happen as quickly as you want to. And we came home and all those little tulips were in bloom, and within a couple of days, these iris. And I think those look just like Carol's, don't they?
I think so.
They may be the same thing. Kind of grassy looking and tall and skinny. And they were there all winter. They never died down, and we didn't even know what they were because we couldn't remember what we planted. And all of a sudden, they jumped right out of there. This is just a real pretty time of year. I'm sorry today isn't very sunny. It rained real hard early this morning. But I don't have much control over that. And there's our little truck. That's what we went camping in last fall. That we wouldn't take anything for. And there's little Carolyn. See, look at this.
Oh,
she heals up so quickly.
Well,
She was a multitude of pretty pastel colors from about her waist down. And she's healed up just like a regular white person now. I mean, if you didn't know better, you'd think she's a white person. Okay, sit down right there.
okay. We're very interested to know whether or not Travis made it to the end of the
Sheep
route.
race. Sheep.
Yeah, sheep race. Very interested to know.
And how Rob Roy did on his steer.
That's exactly right. Exactly right.
And there just isn't a day, probably not an hour, that goes by that we don't think about you, wonder what you're doing right then, and wishing that we were there.
And so many people are so envious and interested in our trip as well. I've been carrying those pictures around with me to every office I go to, and my employees want to see them, and all of Mike's customers want to see his. They're all very excited for us, and he's had a wonderful time.
And we won't forget you, and we just have already started making plans as far as coming back the same time next year. And that would just be really great if we could do that every year for the next 50 years at least. Some customers are real interested as far as wanting to know what we did. And I have not had a chance. We're kind of trying to play catch up from being away. But within the next week or so, I'm going to go out to the Western shop and see what they have to say about, you know, posting your brochure on their bulletin board and how interested they will be in sort of helping you promote this thing. And of course, last week we had a lot of thoughts about those guys on the DC ride and what a boring trip that must have been compared to what we got to do. I know the food wasn't good, and I know damn well the company wasn't as good. Okay, we'll try to get this, we'll try to make you a copy of this afternoon and get it in the mail to you first part of the week. And please let us hear from you, because we love you real good. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
What it is.
Can I have a tomato and a lettuce, please?
I need a tomato.
You're going to make more corn, I'll go and get it.
Oh,
I don't think
I
so.
was corned out.
Everybody corned out?
I may just as a little, you know, little end of the meal teaser.
Where did this fork come from?
This one was a pickle fork. I brought it. There's an extra fork I could have pickle fork.
Which wasn't used? Pickles and peaches. Pickled peaches. Let me see your nephew.
Hey, go like this.
Wow, you want to see my
I just want
steak?
to see. I thought you had a big booger in your nose first, but let me see. Let me see. I mean, does it ever poke the inside of your nose?
When I go like that, yeah.
Every time I get it.
Every time I go.
She was going to ask Betsy to take it into the store and have it cleaned.
I am, I
She
did.
did. She's already asked her.
Really?
She didn't tell her it was her nose ring. She said, I have a little loop earring.
She goes, yeah, give them to me. I said, well, it's just one. Can I see your napkin?
I mean,
Slip it on it. I don't care.
what are you going to do with it?
I'm going to wipe off my floor.
First off, you want to think again.
Can you imagine being a poor little guy who works in that place and just,
Cleaning nose rings.
just as he finishes, someone said, hey, that's Manny Partridge's nose ring. And they go, what?
Let's go
Because he's been taking it and going like this.
God almighty, that's everything. So if your camera's broke when you get it back, you understand why. Oh, I'm not talking about you, sir. I'm talking about him.
No, I figured you were talking about that. By now. What are you running away for?
She camera shy.
Yeah.
Smile.
You know what I'd do if I had a girl like you at home?
All that kind of stuff, and it's real hot. It's a little white thing in the corner of his mouth. We get about 10 feet away, man.
Both quarters are in mine.
You need to attend to that lip cheese. On that lip cheese, homie.
Let's do it, Mikey. The peaches.
Does everyone have all the peaches they want?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm done. You haven't had anything? Oh, I'm sorry.
But not two.
I'll take that last peach.
Those are good. Every time I eat French peaches, I get this like pain in my stomach because I'm not used to them. It's rarely that I eat French peaches, but I don't care after getting it.
Eat them first thing in the morning is nothing else.
Not a million.
Peaches?
Yeah,
Real
I don't know why. I make me feel bad.
Neither.
Boy,
I never
eats
even
me.
heard anybody.
I mean, upsets my stomach like terrible.
Boy, I bet you're excited.
They're too good though.
I'm glad I asked for 2 burgers. They were awesome.
Very
Yeah,
good.
I couldn't have done it on one. That's really good.
Why isn't that thing not squirting besides these two?
It's not clean.
Something filter is kind of goopy.
Goopy.
What? How many gallons an hour on that with that head on that?
I don't know because I don't know if that head restricts it.
Oh yeah.
You think? Yeah. Even when it's boiling, I mean, it really does well.
Totally. I mean, but is it rated at 700 gallons an hour at a 4-foot head? Didn't you see that list of pumps I showed you? It said some gallons at this amount of head.
We were all just so hungry.
I kind of imagine that unrestricted 700 gallons. But I feel sure that they would pump 500 gallons an hour and pump that whole thing.
Gosh, what's neat, sweetie?
Oh, that is
Cigarettes and dental floss.
Boy.
I went back into a reggae wear today. And she was like, your mom's really nice. I was like, if you met my real mom, you wouldn't say that.
It has a big pond. Don't buy them there. It's expensive. Fish Pros in Raleigh has the best school selection.
All right, that is the worst.
What are you doing?
Are you serious about the dental floss, or there's a toothpick sticking out of the
Oh.
You're welcome to use that as long as you're replacing it.
Okay, if we're gonna start picking our teeth and everything, I'm gonna turn this off, okay?
I was